Valerie here, and I'm here to talk through just the basics of Google Analytics. Now, Google likes to change their platform a lot, so a few months ago, this became the new login screen. So sometimes it gets a little confusing if they change where the login is. But to get into your Google Analytics, you want to simply go sign in to Analytics. Now, this is making the assumption that you already have Google Analytics set up and connected to your website, which I show you in the course. Now, once it's set up, you will be able to track your website data and you'll be able to see some really important things. So I simply want to make sure that I'm in the right account. If I'm not, I can click on this down arrow and it will pop open a bunch of other accounts that you might have connected to your Google account. You can see here what Google account you're logged in as over on the right. So I want to take a look real quick. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right website. So this is my blog, and honestly, I haven't done much with my blog in the last month or so. So it does not surprise me that my users are down a little bit, that my sessions are down, and this being a brand new blog, you can see that I'm still working to build traffic. But when you land on your homepage for Google Analytics, it will pop up this, which is just some general overview information. Users, these are how many individual people or different individual accounts went on your website. And so you can take a look and see over time if you're getting more and more traffic to your website. You can also see how many different sessions they had. The sessions are often bigger than the users because you might have had repeat users come to your website. Bounce rate is how fast someone leaves your website. So this is a really good indication for me that I'm going in the right direction because my bounce rate is actually going down rather than being a really high number. Now, of course, I want to continue to increase this because that means that I'm getting the right people to my website who want to pay attention to the content that I have on it. And then the session duration is how long someone stays on your website. You want to get this as long as you possibly can, although realize that people are busy in today's world. So I would expect that you probably aren't going to get it to be more than a few minutes unless you have some sort of online course or content that's actually embedded on your site. Most times people will spend 1 to 3 minutes on a website. So the main navigation here is on the left-hand menu. And you'll see here that you can customize the view of things, create custom reports, some custom alerts if you want to get alerted to certain things. And you can also take a look at some of this key information. I like to go and look. I don't really care so much about real time. This is how many people are actually on my site at any given moment. And honestly, with it being the day of the week that it is when I'm recording this and the time of day, I don't expect there to be much information. But if you have a lot of stuff going on, it's kind of fun sometimes to see how much is actually on your site. Now, I care more about audience, acquisition, and behavior. Audience. If I go here and hit audience and overview, it will give me an idea of my audience size. And you can see here that there's a time frame of the last 30 days or so. And I can compare that to the previous period or the previous year or something custom. So if I do that, you'll see that the graph changes to having 2 lines of data. And this gives me an idea so I can compare the last 30 days to the previous 30 days where I was much more active. And you can see here that my traffic has definitely dropped a ton. My new users has dropped significantly. And most of these stats, so it gives me an idea of, gosh, Valerie, I've got to step up my game to get things back up to the way they were. Now again, here's a positive stat in the last 30 days that my bounce rate has improved, which means that the people that are coming to my website are people who are qualified and actually care about my content. So I love taking a look at these stats to get a feel, and I also love comparing my time frame so that I can see the last 30 days compared to the previous one. Now I can switch this to be a view of the week or even the month, which helps give me an idea of kind of some peaks and different ebbs and flows. I can also take a look at hourly and get a feel for what time of the day most of my audience is coming to my website. This can be really, really helpful, and you can even break that down and change your time frame to, instead of 30 days, change it to just a few days, and you can get a lot of information. Now you can look through a bunch of these other tabs. You can assign lifetime value to a prospective website visitor, which allows you to then track the revenue. You can do a lot of other things here. You can also take a look at demographics, and these are rough demographics, but you can enable this feature so that you can get a better understanding of who your audience is. Now, I like to take a look at behavior, new versus returning. This is really important to me to help me understand how many of my website visitors are new compared to returning visitors, because you want to have a steady stream of new people. But it's also important to understand how many people are coming back. That's a really interesting thing to look at. Another fun thing to take a look at is the technology, as far as what operating system people are using. You can see a lot of people are using Chrome compared to other web browsers. Mobile, you can see what devices people are using, and you can get a feel for kind of where the majority of your traffic is coming from. And as you see numbers changing, if you see the mobile traffic continuing to increase and rise, that may give you some indications that you might want to look through your site from a design eye of how it looks on a mobile device. Now, let's pop over to the acquisition tab. This I like to take a look at because it helps me understand where's my traffic coming from. And honestly, as a marketer, this is one of my most favorite places to look. I want to take a look and see where my traffic's coming from so that I know where to focus my efforts. So here we can see that the orange is referral. The first month in the first 30 days that I'm looking at, from middle of August to middle of September, most of my traffic was coming from referral sites. Now, these are great if you've got guest blog posts on other websites or you're getting featured on different directory listings. But honestly, I want to see more organic search traffic, that's website traffic coming from Google or Bing or Yahoo, and I want to see more social media traffic. So even though my stats as a whole, as far as overall numbers, have decreased over the last month, take a look at this. My organic search traffic was only 11% in the first 30 days compared to the most recent 30 days. It's up to 34.7%. My organic search traffic is my biggest traffic source right now. So that's telling me that the content that I've put on my site was strategic enough to get my website noticed by searches on Google. That's going to be really key for me to attract new people to my site. Now, you can also see that my social media traffic has increased from 16% to 28%. So that's telling me that the social media tactics that I'm doing were working. So these are two different things that I always like to look at on a regular basis. Now, I will say that there are flukes in certain months. There are different factors that contribute to dips. And as you look at your website traffic month over month, you'll start to learn certain times of the year are slower for certain industries. Certain times of the month are different for industries. Take a look and don't freak out. Take a look over a few months time frame to see if you're seeing trends. This is going to be really important versus taking maybe some fluke in the data or some weird instance with the political scene and people getting off of Facebook or whatever, things that are out of your control that are causing dips and lulls in your traffic. Now, if you're running Google Ads, you can be able to take a look and see how much of your traffic is coming from there. You can also take a look at other things related to your Search Console, which is Google's way of kind of taking a look at where your the health of your site as a whole. But I also want to take a look over here at behavior, because this is really one of the spots that I like to take a look. And I like to look at site content and landing pages. You can also look at all pages and content drill down to get a feel for what pages are popular, but I like landing pages because it gives me an idea of what my most popular content is. So you can see here that some of my favorite content, or some of my most popular content, has actually been stuff related to minimalism. So that means that I'm going to write more content around the topics of minimalism. And you can see here that I can see the topics, the blog posts that were the top ones as a whole. And so I can scroll through and get a feel for what is most popular. And so as I do this, it can help inform what content I'm going to write in the future. So I always like to take a look there. Now the other thing is exit pages. This is another great thing to take a look at month over month, because it gives you an idea of where are people finishing up on your website. Now, because many of these pages were similar to what we saw on the last screen, it's telling me that people are often coming to my website and they're reading one article and then leaving. So are there things that I can do in the design of my website that can encourage people to pop around, read other articles, click on different buttons so that they will stay longer and explore more content? These are just some things that you can learn by taking a look at just a few little stats on your website. This is going to help you dictate how you design your site, what kinds of content you put on your site, and what kinds of things you're doing in your marketing strategy. Whether you're focusing on your social media efforts or you're focusing on sales funnels or Google AdWords, you always want to make sure you're comparing it against your website traffic. And Google Analytics provides you a lot of great resources that are very simple and fairly easy to navigate to be able to do so.